The League One promotion race is possibly at its closest it's ever been this season, and there's barely any games to go. Let's dive into it and see which teams will be going up to the Championship this season, team by team. As you can see, if you look at the table beside me, there's two battles going on. You've got the top four who are fighting for the top two, the promotion automatically to the Championship. And then from 5th down to 9th, you've got the playoff battle. Those teams are just trying to wrap up those last two playoff places. There is an 8-point gap from Portsmouth down to the next nearest teams, Charlton and Shrewsbury. So we're going to draw the cut-off line at Portsmouth and say it's 9th upwards with a credible chance of going up this season. If you're a fan of League One or just a football fan in general, do make sure to drop a like on this video. We'll go for 166 likes on this, so do like and please do subscribe as well. The more of you that get involved, the more League One content we'll do. And let's go through it team by team, starting with Sheffield Wednesday. Now, Sheffield Wednesday do currently occupy that top spot in League One. However, the three teams directly below them, Plymouth Argyle, Ipswich Town and Barnsley, all do have a game in hand on the Owls. And with Plymouth Argyle and Ipswich winning those games in hand, Sheffield Wednesday would drop to 3rd place. Their form, as you can see, is 6 points from their last 6. A point per game is bottom half form. It's kind of relegation form, if anything, and that is what's seen Sheffield Wednesday's tremendous gap at the top get cut down by these two. So technically, it's not in Sheffield Wednesday's hands. They have an upside of 99 points. That is, if they win their final 5 games this season, they'd get to 99 points. Although, I'll leave it to you whether you'd rather have 2 points like Sheffield Wednesday or a game in hand like Ipswich. It's very close, so I don't think it's completely out of Sheffield Wednesday's hands. If you look at their 5 games, they've got Exeter City and Derby County at home, which could be tricky. Exeter City haven't been a bad side this season, and Derby County on the final day could be dramatic. I remember Derby County relegated Sheffield Wednesday on the final day of the Championship 2 seasons ago, so are Sheffield Wednesday going to be looking for some revenge? The 3 away games aren't impossible here for the Owls. They'll be looking to try to get maximum points from Burton, Bristol Rovers and Shrewsbury. I know League One's a difficult division, but they've really got to get a minimum of 6 or 7 points from those 3 away games, with this race being so dramatic at the top. I think if Sheffield Wednesday get 10 points from these 5 games, that'll just be enough for the top 2. If they want to win the title, they've probably got to win 4 of those 5, if not 5 out of 5. But I think it's just about wrapping up the top 2 here, of course. And I think Sheffield Wednesday will do it if they get 10 points. That'd be 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. But looking at their current form, it doesn't look like they'll do that. They need to start improving with the games running out. We'll move on to the next team. In 2nd place, you've got Plymouth Argyle. Plymouth Argyle have the highest upturn this season. If they were to win their final 6 games, they're the only team that could get above 100 points. I don't think they need to win all 6. Looking at their form, 12 points from 6. They're churning out 2 points per game. If they were to get another 12 points from their next 6, that'd get them to 95 points, which would definitely be enough in my opinion. I'm saying 94 points will be enough for 2nd place this season, albeit Plymouth Argyle's goal difference isn't as good as Sheffield Wednesday's or Ipswich's or even Barnsley's for that matter. So Plymouth might need to go for 4 wins from their final 6. And looking at those fixtures, Cambridge, Bristol Rovers and Burton at home, with Plymouth being so good at home, they really should go for maximum points there. I know they did lose recently at home to Lincoln City, but look at these 3 away games. The next one does stand out. Exeter City. Can Exeter screw over Plymouth Argyle here? And then Shrewsbury away. It's not an impossible assignment, but it's not easy. Port Vale away on the final day isn't easy either. But like I say, those 3 home games, they really want to go for 3 home wins and then a few points on the road as well. And Plymouth Argyle might just be all right. I do fancy Plymouth Argyle to do it at the end of the season, but they've got to get back to winning home games and really want to try and get something at Exeter City first. Next up, we'll go on to Ipswich Town, who are currently 3rd and, as I say, could overtake Sheffield Wednesday with a win in their game in hand. They have 6 games remaining, 3 of them at home, 3 of them away. Charlton, Port Vale and Exeter at home. Not impossible games. They're not easy, but not impossible. But the away games look very tricky here. Peterborough United, Barnsley and Fleetwood Town, who can be an obstacle as well. Ipswich's form is the best with 16 points from their last 6. Unfortunate not to win their most recent away game at Cheltenham to make it 6 wins out of 6 from the last 6, but it was still a 1-1 draw. I just look at those away games and think Ipswich Town could really drop points there, and with them being in 3rd place, that is a little cause for concern. But as I say, if they were to win 4 of their final 6, that'd get them to 94 points. And I think that would be enough for them. So they need to try and take down one of those away games and win all of those home games. Not impossible for a team like Ipswich, who've been going very, very well. Last up in the automatic battle, you've got Barnsley. Barnsley are averaging 2 points per game with 12 points from their last 6. They've got 6 games remaining. Oxford United, Ipswich and Peterborough, the home games. They're not easy. Ipswich and Peterborough certainly stand out, but they are at home, which means Barnsley might fancy them a little bit more. Away from home, they've got Forest Green, where they'll fancy their chances. Lincoln and MK Dons could be tricky, but you look at those games, Barnsley still have a good chance of making the top 2. Probably need a minimum of 5 wins out of 6, maybe even 6 wins required, depending on how the other teams move. But Barnsley still have a credible chance. It'll be minimum they'll make as playoffs, but they still have a good chance of making that top 2. They really want to try and take down Ipswich at home. I feel like that one is a must-win for Barnsley to get in there. Tykes fans, share your opinions. We'll move on to the next team. There is a gap here for Peterborough United, who are 8 points behind Barnsley and have played a game more. For Peterborough, it's just about wrapping up that top 6, but their form is brilliant. 16 points from their last 6 games. They've got 5 games remaining, and for me, 78 points should be enough to just sneak into 6th place this season. And with Peterborough having a good goal difference, that'll be interesting as well. But look how close the goal difference is between Bolton, Derby and Peterborough. That really could be interesting on the final day. Looking at the away games, Cambridge United, that is a really tasty one for Peterborough. They'll really want to try and win that one. Accrington away, not impossible, but Ipswich at home and Barnsley away stand out as really interesting games. Bristol Rovers has got to be seen as a winnable one for Posh. So as I say, 3 wins out of the 5 would be enough for Peterborough. 2 wins and 2 draws could be enough, but then they'd be depending on other teams. But it is worth pointing out, Peterborough are in the best form. I do fancy them to get over the line, but Ipswich and Barnsley are 2 very tricky games you must point out. Next up, you've got Bolton, who sit in 6th place, albeit they've got a game in hand, and if they were to win that, they'd overtake Peterborough. Obviously, they just won the Pizza Cup, but have just dropped points in their most recent league game, 1-1 at home to Cambridge United. 6 points from their last 6 is not great form. 1 point per game. If they were to do that from their next 6 games, they'd only get to 74 points this season, which won't be enough for the top 6. So Bolton really do need to get a move on. But their fixture list isn't impossible here. I think their home games look a little bit trickier than their away games. I do fancy them at Oxford, Burton and probably Bristol Rovers as well. Shrewsbury, Accrington and Fleetwood though at home, I feel like they could be tricky, but it is worth pointing out Bolton aren't playing any of the other top 9 in their final 6, so Bolton have really got to fancy their chances. Their form's got to improve, but they do look like they've got a very good chance here. Next up, you've got Derby County, 7 points from their last 6. It's not great, but it is slightly better than Bolton's form. It looks like it really could be close, and like I say, do look out for the goal difference as well. Derby County's fixtures look favourable, except for the Portsmouth and Sheffield Wednesday games, which could be tricky. Burton, Bristol Rovers and Exeter, they'll really want to try and go for maximum points. As I say, 78 points is what I think it'll be to get into the 6th place this season. So that means Derby would need to win a minimum of 3 of these final 5 and get a draw somewhere, and even then it could come down to goal difference. As I say though, it's technically not in Derby's hands now that Peterborough have gone past them and Bolton are ahead of them with a game in hand. But as I say, 10 points from their final 5, which would be 2 points per game, and I think Derby County might just sneak in there. They've still got a very good chance here. We shall see. Next up, you've got Wycombe Wanderers, who also have a chance here. 8 points from their last 6, and they're still involved here. Slightly better form from their last 6 than Derby and Bolton, which has kept them in it. They've got Lincoln and Cheltenham at home, which are favourable games. I mean, Lincoln have been winning away at some of the top teams, so Wycombe will be having to look out for that banana skin. They go away to Morecambe and Cambridge, where they've really got to go for maximum points against those relegation battlers. And then Portsmouth on the final day could be an interesting one. Going away to Fratton Park, Wycombe might need a win. As I say, 78 points is what I'm saying will get you the top 6 this season, which means Wycombe really can't afford to lose any more games. 4 wins and a draw could be enough for Wycombe here. 4 wins and 1 defeat might just be enough, but it would require the teams just above them to not go on a good run at all. The final team we'll mention are Portsmouth, who are still involved here. Their form is better than Bolton, Derby and Wycombe's, with 12 points from their last 6, 2 points per game. 2 points per game from their final 5 though probably wouldn't be enough, as it would only get them up to 73 points, so they'd require a collapse from pretty much everyone above them. What is worth pointing out though is they have got a favourable favourable fixture list here with Accrington, Shrewsbury and Oxford coming up. Portsmouth really need to go for maximum points there. If they win those three, they'll be up to 72 points before taking on Wycombe and Derby in the final two games, the two teams just above them. As I say, if they keep within touching distance and then win those head-to-heads, Portsmouth might just jump in there. But as I say, to get to 78 points, Portsmouth have to win 5 out of 5. They're still involved, but their chance is slim. They need to win every game and not drop any points to have a good chance of getting in there. So then guys, that is all the teams involved here. That is the top 9. If I look at it now, I really can't call it. It does look like Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth have a good chance here with their fixture list being a bit nicer than Ipswich Town's, but Ipswich are in better form than those two. Barnsley, you've got to keep your eye on as well, but they are slightly adrift off that top 3 and really can't afford to drop many more points. As for the playoff race, Portsmouth and Wycombe's chances are slim, but you've got to still count them as it's mathematically possible. I do think it'll probably be between Peterborough, Bolton and Derby. I do like Peterborough's run of form. I do like Bolton's fixtures, but I feel like Derby, if they win the next 2 games and get themselves back in there, they'll have a credible chance as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. Do share your opinions down below, guys. It's incredibly close in League One. As I say, it'll probably be 3 of these 9 playing in the Championship next season. Do let me know which 3 you think it'll be in the comments. Make sure to drop a like and do make sure to subscribe for more League One content. I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.